welcome. My name is James Sutton, and this is Road to Recovery. It's a program about addiction and recovery. And today my guests are LaTanya Rich and her husband, Ed Bunny Rich. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So LaTanya, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a person in long-term recovery. Next month, I will be celebrating 18 years.
All right.
And I'm a survivor of domestic abuse in my household, addiction in my household. And when I became an adult, I had some issues with drugs as well. It was a lot prevalent in my family. And I got clean at 34. And I decided that I didn't want to live like that anymore without any, any indicators or any examples in my life prior to that. I knew it had to be something better. So I threw myself into recovery, and I did what they told me to do. And one day at a time, I've gotten 18 years.
All right. Congratulations.
Today, I'm married to like the greatest guy in the world. I'm the co-executive director of Tree of Hope, and life is pretty good. Not anything that I could have possibly thought for myself at the time when I first got clean. I didn't even know like living this peacefully was possible.
Okay. And this is your better half or your other half?
That is my best half.
Okay. So, Bunny, and you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Ed Bunny Rich. I go by the name most of the time Bunny, but many people call me Ed too as well. It doesn't matter. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I have lived experience on both sides of the fence, so I'm glad today that I'm able to help others who had trouble in their life and have come through any periods of difficulty. And then help them get back on the path. I'm co-executive director with my lovely wife here of Tree of Hope.
Yes.
And we're proud to be able to help people in the area here. But I'm also on the Alcohol and Other Drug Abuse Advisory Council as a business representative. We report to the county council and the executive, the county executive in matters of alcohol, drugs, and addiction.
Oh, great, great. Yeah, I have to take a moment and say, these are the two hardest working people in the recovery community in Montgomery County, and maybe the world. You guys are so busy. I mean, you're all over the place helping so many people in so many different areas. Now, Tree of Hope, can you tell us a little bit about Tree of Hope?
Tree of Hope was started in like 2014 by a group of alumni of Avery Road. We were originally called the Avery Road Alumni Association, and our main goal was just to like fill in the gaps. Like, all of us had gone through the system at one point in time, and there was some things that weren't being provided by the organizations who were providing treatment. It wasn't their job to provide them, but they were needed, like workforce development, some self-esteem, mentoring programming and things like that. So we decided we would do these groups, and we started at Avery Road. But since then, our response, the response from the community was so great that we felt that Avery Road Alumni Association was too limiting a term. So we changed the name to Tree of Hope.
Right.
And so now we are connecting a lot of the treatment programs in this area, a lot of the recovery organizations, multiple pathways of recovery. We want to bring everybody together, and it's actually been happening. Yeah.
Okay, because that sounds like the concept of a recovery community organization.
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about?
That's exactly what we're talking about, exactly.
So what are some of the services that a recovery community organization or Tree of Hope provide? Because I understand you have Recovery Coach Academy, you train recovery coaches. What's that all about?
Yes, well, the first part of your question, recovery community organization, provides recovery focus, advocacy,
Okay.
Community education, outreach, and peer recovery services. And you want to talk about how we actually do that?
Well, what we do is we interact with people in recovery or who are in need of recovery, no matter what stage they're in. You know, if they're out in the community, or we even connect with them while they're in different, I guess, treatment, places or halfway houses. We want to engage with them so that we can make the transition back into the community smooth. Yeah, so we educate them. We teach them how to be peers if they want to be recovery coaches. You are in recovery when you say you're in recovery.
Right.
So no matter what stage they're in, if they're willing to move forward and do some work in the community, they can do that. But we also have recovery coaches that will help them navigate. If they do not want to be a recovery coach, they just want to be a recipient of care, then or a recovery, as we call them, we can help them manage their life and to become resources to them to help them connect with any resources they need in the community, no matter what it might be.
That sounds good. Now, what are some of the roles of a recovery coach? What does a recovery coach?
A recovery coach is a resource broker.
Okay.
Mentor, a sounding board. We just try to be there to help that person find their own path. A lot of times, I know when I first got clean, people told me you need to go to one fellowship, and then that's the one is for you. They decided for me, you know. Being a part of the peer community allows the recovery to pick their own path. You know, there's more than one path to recovery.
Okay.
You know, there's spiritual, religious, and secular. You know, and so there's Celebrate Recovery, NAAA. You know, and a lot of people don't know about those other paths. So as a result, we've lost a lot of people
Right.
who don't feel connected to the fellowship that they were pushed into.
I see.
So, yeah, so we help them navigate and find the suit that fits them and connect to the resources that they might need along the way. You know, there might be daycare, it might be housing,
Okay.
things like that. And even introduce them to some people that could possibly sponsor them or, you know, in whatever pathway they choose.
Okay. So a recovery coach, that's a non-clinical job. That's something that the treatment center is not going to do. It's something outside of the treatment center.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And what about, how's that different from a sponsor? And how's a recovery coach different from a sponsor? You know, like a 12-step sponsor, like NA or AA sponsor.
Well, we don't do what a sponsor does. A sponsor takes you through the 12 steps of recovery most times. Like I said, we're resource brokers. We help, the sponsor doesn't help you find medical insurance or housing or anything like that. You know, we usually take care of those things that they wouldn't normally get from a sponsor. We are not a sponsor.
Right.
We are maybe possibly a sounding board until they find a sponsor, or maybe part of their network. You know, after they get a sponsor, they can use us to run things past us and get our opinion, but that is about it.
So can a person have a counselor, a sponsor, and a recovery coach?
Yes, sir.
They can work together?
Yes.
So
that's the best way to do it.
That's the best way to do it. Okay, great. Now, what are some of the activities that Tree of Hope is involved in? What do you guys do to educate and inform and bring in those people that are in treatment or before they even get in treatment, and then helping people stay focused on their recovery? What are some of the vehicles you use, some of the activities?
Well, we do all recovery groups in multiple facilities in this area, halfway houses, treatment programs, shelters. We try to go as wherever the door is open for us to kind of let people know that we're there for them if they need us. We are doing a Recovery Coach Academy to actually train peers. We just did a retreat that would bring together. It was actually the first time we brought together the mental health and the recovery community together under plan, and that event was pretty successful. And so it was kind of a triumph. We do coffee houses. We try to do socialization events. You know, a lot of times people know in recovery, they don't feel comfortable learning how to dance in public again and, you know, and be social. So we try to provide those kind of activities to kind of give people a safe environment to learn how to be social again.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine, because addiction, it makes you isolate. So socialization is important in starting on the road to recovery, learning how to connect with people that are sober. Because I know where I work at the jail, you know, the Montgomery County Correctional Facility, when inmates leave jail addiction services, most of their friends are committing crimes and using, so they can't return to those same people, places, and things because they'll end up relapsing. So to have an opportunity to meet sober people and have fun, which a lot of them don't think they can have fun without drugs, right, and alcohol. So you're providing a great service just to show people that you can have fun, you know, with no drugs, no alcohol, and no violence. So that's a great service in itself. How's that working out? Is it working? Is it a good response?
Yeah, I feel it is. It was key to my recovery in the beginning for me to get reconnected to the social aspect of my life. You know, I really, you know, like you said, I felt like, you know, what am I going to do now if I don't get connected? And if I can't, you know, have fun, don't party, I just got to stay in the house and not go anywhere, whatever. So, yeah, it reconnects them. It's another way to reconnect them back to life and into the community again. And yes, it is working. We also have had, as she mentioned, coffee houses, which are really more than just coffee drinking. We have, they're more like open mic night, you know, and a talent show. And
like
so,
karaoke.
right, so people can get reconnected back to things they used to do, playing instruments, singing, dancing, or maybe some new things. You know, we have some rapping, as long as it's recovery-based rapping.
Oh yeah,
and
recovery-based
rappers, positive rappers.
Yeah.
You know, any pathway that you choose, maybe even, you know, maybe even gospel singing or religious. You know, it can be whatever you like.
Okay.
But positive, as long as it's
That sounds
positive.
good.
Amazing talent.
Yeah, I'm sure we have a lot of talent that's undiscovered in the recovery community. So giving them an opportunity to put their poetry on your website or perform a song. As a matter of fact, I saw a guy at one of the events, he had his daughter sitting on his knee. That was so touching.
Yes.
He was playing the guitar and had his daughter on his knee while he was playing the guitar. I think he had 5 years sober.
Yes, we've known him since he came in the door.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So that's very inspiring when you see that. I think we're going to take a break for a minute. When we come back, you can tell us a little bit more about yourself and some of the recovery-oriented activities that you're engaged in.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education. What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Welcome back. This is Road to Recovery, and my guests today, LaTanya Rich and Ed Bunny Rich. So LaTanya, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the activities that you're involved in Montgomery County in the recovery community, like STEER or?
Yeah, I am involved with STEER. I work with STEER, which stands for Stop, Triage, Engage, Educate, and Rehabilitate. And what it is a program that was originally sponsored by the police program, now more HHS, where we respond to non-fatal overdoses and any other substance abuse disorders, chronic substance abuse disorders, and we try to fast track those people to treatment, as well as we do case management for them, where we follow
Good.
them for at least 6 months to a year, depending on how they come into our program. We have a deferment program with the police department, whereas if they see someone that has a petty charge, we have like 7 pre-approved charges from the Attorney General's office.
Uh-huh.
And if someone gets charged with one of those offenses, the police can opt to defer the charge. And if they come into our program of STEER and go to treatment, stay engaged with outpatient, and stay engaged with us for a year, then the charge gets torn up.
Let me ask you this, do you interact with the family members too?
We interact with the family members, depending on if the recovery wants us to.
Right.
Sometimes there's some dysfunction in the family, and that might be the last thing that we want to do, or the recovery wants us to do. So we're bound by the confidentiality of the recovery.
Oh, okay. That sounds like an important program right now, especially with the opiate epidemic.
Yes,
I'm
most
sure
definitely.
it's really helping get people into treatment that really need treatment before they possibly die from fentanyl overdose.
Most
What about
definitely.
the Recovery Coach Academy? You mentioned that, but we haven't really elaborated. What is that Recovery Coach Academy?
Recovery Coach Academy is a training that we're about to have next Saturday. It starts Saturday, December 1st.
Okay.
And we're going to have it at the Crisis Center.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a 30-hour program that will give people the foundation that they need, the foundation CEUs that they need to become a peer recovery specialist.
So you're a peer recovery specialist, right, Bonnie?
Yes, a certified peer recovery specialist. Mhm.
Okay. So what does that entail?
Well, it's essentially a recovery coach that has taken continuing education units in different areas. She mentioned them before: advocacy, ethics, mentoring and education, and recovery and wellness, so that you can best help your peer, the person, your recovery, or the person that you're trying to help. But the certification comes in later when you've completed many hours. The basic core of it is the Recovery Coach Academy.
Okay.
And you can still perform as a peer recovery coach or a peer specialist, but the certification comes later. And what the certification does is allow agencies to hire you and really pay you a little bit more because you are certified, through the state of Maryland.
Oh,
through
good.
the board, yeah. MABPCB, which is the board that also certifies addictions counselors and so forth, mental health people, counselors. They also have a board that certifies us as peers.
Right.
So
So you're saying that, and I understand all you need is a GED, right?
yes.
So a person with a GED can come to your class, your training for it's usually like 30 hours, and then get some additional classes, and they can work anywhere in the state as a peer specialist, and they're licensed by the state of Maryland, not just Montgomery County, but anywhere in the state
Yes, as a certified peer.
as a certified peer.
As a certified
Okay,
peer.
that's great.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this whole thing, that people who come in and who have not worked in a really long time and don't have any job skills,
Okay.
or have worked in communities where their job hasn't been conducive to their recovery, they get an opportunity to have their life experience be the primary qualification for a job that can pay them for a new path, so they can get the foundation credits and possibly find a job before they get certified. Usually people who are hiring peers now are paying for the trainings to
Okay.
further their education to get their certification. So depending on what the limitations of the employers are,
Right.
you know, people are going in with 6 months and working as peer recovery specialists in local treatment centers.
So what are some of the places a peer specialist would be working? What would?
Well, she just mentioned treatment centers, but they have them at the hospitals.
Okay, hospitals. Okay.
Yeah, there may be some work to do in halfway houses if a group wants to have a peer recovery specialist or a recovery coach come in and help some of their clients there. You know, a lot of different agencies, anything that's connected to the addictions or mental health.
Okay.
Mental health as well. People can come in and work in those different environments. Depending on, you know, there's also
Government agencies.
yeah, government agencies. Yeah, that's what
Oh,
I was
right.
really, yeah, because we have a peer that's working with us now that's working through the county. So
Right.
so there are county positions that will help place them in different county organizations. And
That's
and
true. I have a
outlets.
peer that works with me at Montgomery County Correctional Facility, the first one.
All right,
Yeah.
that's
He's
awesome.
doing a great job, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
why is a peer needed in a treatment center or emergency room or a drug court? How can they be more, or why is their role unique? What can they do that a clinician, you know?
For me, you know, in the pathway that I chose, there's a saying called the therapeutic value of one person with like experience helping another
Okay.
is unparalleled. And the reality is that people connect to people who understand where they've been or where
Right.
they are. You know, I know for me when I was new, I connected to the counselors and the tech people that worked in the treatment programs that were in recovery. I could tell who they were,
Okay.
you know, and so that's where we're benefit. That sometimes people who are in distress can hear us better if we know their pain.
Okay. Right. Very good. Very good.
But I will say that also that there's opportunities for people who were not necessarily an addict or alcoholic to also become recovery coaches and peers because they, in a certain way, because they may have lived experience with someone as an ally, you know, someone that
Okay.
in their family may have been or a friend or whatever. So they have some experience in that way. That they can lend to recovery coaches. I don't want to eliminate just people who have lived. You have the lived experience, but also you can be an ally and help in that way too. Because really, what you are is, to me, more so a cheerleader, you know,
Okay.
and someone that's going to be supporting them to help them move on, which is a little bit different from some of the other.
Okay. So a concerned person, a person that wants to make Montgomery County healthier, could become a recovery coach even though they've never used drugs and alcohol.
Most definitely.
Okay.
You know,
And do they show up?
We support a concerned persons group.
Yes.
And, you know, one thing.
What is that?
It's a family support group
Okay,
for
family
people
support
who
group,
are
okay.
family members of people who are in treatment or in recovery. The thing is that when a person uses drugs and the whole family gets sick, not
Okay.
just that individual.
Right.
You know, so there are services that are needed for people who are family members and allies of people who are in recovery.
Right.
People don't know what to do. They don't know how to support their loved one. And
Right.
so that experience is lived experience as well.
Okay. Okay. Because a lot of people probably don't know how to help and don't know if they are excluded because they're not in recovery.
Right.
But what about businesses? How can businesses help with this health concern of substance abuse in Montgomery County? How could they help Tree of Hope or the recovery community Do they have a role?
Most definitely, yeah, most definitely. We have an outreach committee that which we're organizing and to reach out to the community, the business community, to help support and sponsor some of our events, to sponsor like we're having Christmas at the treatment center this year.
Okay.
So we give out Christmas gifts. We've been doing that for like how long? About 4 years now.
4 or 5 years. Something.
Okay.
Every Christmas Day, I was in treatment on Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, is that right?
So that was one of the first things we did as an organization was to bring Christmas and festivity to the treatment program when they're at their lowest point.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That's
So
great.
we give hats and gloves and
Yeah.
all those things. So financial sponsorship, in-kind sponsorship is always valuable. We need supplies for our trainings. We'll need donations of hats and gloves for Christmas.
Okay.
Financial is always helpful.
Money's always good.
Money's always good, but even in that, they can decide what they want their money to go towards.
And you're 501c3?
We are a nonprofit 501c3.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say too also that, just she said in kind donations, but also showing up to support and help out.
Most
We've had some
definitely.
people come out from other businesses and help us out with what we had to do at the retreat to contribute, and that shows real empathy and gratitude, towards the community. I know most businesses think about how they can help in the community. So, not only financially, but in support and your own deeds and coming out to support too as well. Because I'm sure by now everyone has had some point in time where addiction has touched them or their family or loved ones or friends. So,
Right.
it's a way to give back. I want to say one more thing that, it helps us all and helps the business community in that the more like I'm a productive member of society now,
Right.
taxpayer,
Right.
own a couple of houses now, and we, doing well back into the community. So that helps businesses and the county and
No doubt.
and the state of Maryland as well.
No doubt.
So
Most definitely.
we're all in it together.
So we're coming toward the end of the show. Is there anything that we haven't said that you really want to share with the community about recovery or about Tree of Hope?
Well, one of the things that has been our driving force is to remove the stigma of recovery,
Right.
from the community. We've been a big advocate for different projects in the community, like building a new treatment center.
Right.
One of the issues that we had in the beginning was that they built a pet hospital before they rebuilt a new treatment program. And but the reason for that is not because they're unsensitive to the recovery community. It was that people weren't advocating for the recovery community.
Okay.
So we've been out full force at all the budget hearing meetings to put a face to recovery. Like, people who need help are your brother, your sister, they're your neighbors, they're the people that you love.
Right.
And people forget that. So we're here to constantly remind them and show them all the cute little faces of the people, little young kids coming in recovery now because they're children now.
Okay.
I actually sponsor a girl who got clean at 15.
Wow.
At 15 years old. She's 21 now, and she's doing great.
That's good news.
Yes, but removing the stigma and reminding people that people in recovery are human beings and they need support.
Thank you so much.
Well
So we've had LaTanya Rich and Ed Bunny Rich. This is Road to Recovery. And I'm James Sutton. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And hopefully we'll see you on the road to recovery.